Hello everyone. I'm making this short recording to address some questions I've received regarding the M3 variations, and the new Unbalanced Butterfly or UB series we're currently teaching within our Premium Plus membership. Of course, all our regular disclaimers apply, so please read through the disclaimers even though we're not showing you any specific trays. So let's take a look at the M3 itself. The classic M3 program is the system I've been using to train traders become successful in the markets since 2008. By 2012, I had already successfully trained many professional traders, hedge fund managers, retail options traders, and other options mentors as well. I trained them the skills required to be profitable in the market as market neutral traders, but I was doing it on a one-on-one capacity. In other words, I wasn't reaching all that many people. SMB training out of New York City, I had trained someone over there and they realized the effectiveness of the programs, and they also realized I wasn't reaching a whole lot of people. So they asked me to put together a program in a more easily shareable format so that we could collectively reach more traders and help them along their path to becoming successful. The result was the M3 program, which is now available through SMB training. And that program continues to make a tremendous difference in people's lives even today. Now, while the M3 program contains all the basic mechanical steps needed for an intermediate level complex options trader to become successful, and many traders use the program as it is demonstrated in the program, many other traders will modify or add to the program or take various parts away from the M3 concept to create methodologies that better fit their own personalities and their own objectives. And we see this evidence through the various broken wing butterfly trades running around the internet. And if you've been with me for any length of time or worked one-on-one with myself or Dave, you probably realize there are many variations of the M3 trade that we teach, in addition to the classic version that's demonstrated in the M3 program itself. For the most part, these variations have been taught in a one-on-one capacity over the years and have not been put into a program format. The exception of this being the M3U BWC or M3U Broken Wing Condor, which would be here, and the M3LT, which was both of these were added to the SMB M3 program. The M3U was added years ago. I think it was almost part of the original program back in 2012 because we immediately needed something for the traders who had a smaller account to trade with who didn't want to deal with IWM. So we went ahead and we put that in there. And then in 2016, we got a request for M3LT, and that was reasonably easy to put into the basic program. So we did that in 2016. As far as the other variations, we haven't yet put them into a public format. So if we take a look at this sheet that I have here, it just goes over what these trades are. So we have the classic M3 that is in the program. And again, that's primarily on the Russell 2000. And that is if you want to look at the more complex classification for this is an M3 classic. In other words, it's a butterfly with a call entry. It has an upside adjustment strategy of a risk off and then a roll, and it has a rollback downside adjustment strategy. So if we look at our entry variations among the M3, our most common entry variations are going to be a classic M3 with a butterfly or a butterfly call. The other variations would be the M3U Broken Wing Condor, which again is in the M3 program itself, available through SMB training. We also have the M3U Broken Wing Butterfly variation entry. We have an M3U Unbalanced Butterfly entry where we have more contracts on one side than the other. We have an M3U unbalanced combination where we have essentially a broken wing condor with more contracts or bigger on one side than the other. We have variations of the M3 with diagonals and calendars. So in other words, we don't use butterflies at all. We use diagonals and calendars to produce essentially the same T plus 0 line. We have capital efficient versions that use their capital more efficiently. We have ultra capital efficient versions. We have that M3LT, which is the long-term version. We have short-term versions that come in less than 30 days. We have versions that use weekly calls. We have versions that are entered less than 15 days to expiration or in weeklies. So there's lots of different entry variations. There's also lots of different upside strategy combinations. The classic M3 uses an ROR, or a risk off then roll, where we add verticals or we raise the expiration line to the right, and then if the market goes too far, we then roll. We have risk off only versions where we only raise the expiration line. We have adjustment strategies that go into a condor. They gradually go into a condor. We have upside adjustments that turn into a rock trade, if you know what that is, if you've done our rock program. We have scale-in strategies. We have scale-in strategies that scale in by price. We have scale-in strategies that scale in by time. So all those are different upside adjustment strategies that may be in various variations of the M3 strategy itself. We have downside adjustment strategies. For the most part in the program, we use the roll the position back and reset the trade. But there's also put protection. And again, that is actually within the program, but there's varying ways that you could trade this to the downside. We have, like I said, adding put protection and then correcting the Greeks to the upside. We have futures and stock that you can sell against the position. We have verticals you can do. You can verticals with upside corrections. You have reverse scale-ins. And of course, if you have a problem with the downside with M3 trade, you could always just exit. So those are various downside adjustment strategies. And of course, we can do it in different assets that we teach again in a one-on-one capacity. We can do them in the SPX. We can do them in the NDX. So a few common examples of some of our shortened names would be, a Russell M3 Classic Butterfly configuration, risk off, roll forward, and roll back, which is the primary M3 adjustment strategy within the Classic M3 shown in the SMB program. We also have our M3U Broken Wing Condor, risk off and roll back strategy, which is the M3U, again, as shown in the SMB program for small position management. And then we have our M3U Broken Wing Butterfly, which is an M3 entered without a call in a Broken Wing Butterfly configuration that does that same risk-off adjustment strategy and rolls forward and rolls back depending on which direction we're going, which is essentially the same as a UB3 trade. That's essentially going to be our UB3 configuration when we start talking about that. And then, of course, we have another configuration where we gradually go into a condor. So we have a Broken Wing Butterfly with it's unhedged, no call. It's a Broken Wing Butterfly entry. It gradually turns into a more condor type of a position. And to the downside, rather than roll back, we're doing puts with gradual Greek corrections. And that's most closely related to what we would call a UP4 trade. Then we have other variations of this here. So I'm not going to go over every single one. Now the concepts behind all these entry strategies that we see here, all the upside adjustment strategies we see here, and all the downside adjustment strategies, and when they're best utilized is outlined in the Broken Wing Butterfly Masterclass track that's currently available with our Premium Plus membership. If you're looking for trade rules or guidelines, the M3C or the classic M3 on the Russell, along with the M3U, BWB, ROR, or the regular classic M3U, or the M3 Classic LT, those rules and guidelines are contained within the SMB M3 program, the regular program. Regarding descriptions and guidelines for the other variations of the M3, as well as the UB trades, let's just quickly talk about them. The UB trade, or the UB1 trade, is the predecessor to the M3 trade. And I started teaching the UB1 trade in 2007. And what it is it's a longer term butterfly that simply raises the expiration line when the market goes up. So you might do something like being a broken wing butterfly and then roll in the upper long strike as a risk off adjustment to raise the expiration line as the market goes up. And then if the market comes down, our general default position there would be to remove the position and roll it back or reset the position. So that's where we get the risk off to the upside and the roll back to the downside. So a UB1 is literally a broken wing butterfly raising the right side of the expiration graph. It's an M3U broken wing butterfly risk off rollback. So when I'm asked if the UB1 is an M3 variation, the answer is sort of. This is because I started teaching the UB1 before the M3 even existed. But it is through improving the long-term viability of the UB1 trade itself, or improving the viability of a risk-off only broken wing butterfly, that I eventually developed the M3 system itself. Now the UB2 trade is similar to the UB1 trade, and it's referred to as a broken wing condor risk-off only strategy. And this should say RB, or roll back, and that's going to be a UB2 trade. So it's fairly similar. But what it does by entering as a broken wing condor, it actually provides an improvement in position performance over rolling back the long strike in certain market conditions. So like the UB1 trade, the UB2 trade is both a predecessor and sort of a variation of the M3 strategy itself. The rules and guidelines on how to trade the UB1 trade and the UB2 trade specifically are going to be covered in the UB1 and UB2 tracks that are being produced right now in our Premium Plus membership. So we're currently producing those tracks as we speak. The UB3 trade is going to be most closely related to the classic M3 trade. In fact, if you were to notice the order of the numbers, if you were to say UB1, UB2, UB3, the M3 is actually Unbalanced Butterfly Method 3. That's what M3 stands for. UB3 itself stands for Unbalanced Butterfly Method 3. So that's where the name itself came from. Although the UB3 is going to be different than the M3 Classic itself, because the UB3 is going to be an M3U broken wing butterfly rather than an M3C, which is a butterfly call. So they're going to be different somewhat, but they're going to be a lot of the same concept essentially as far as an upside and downside adjustment strategies in M3. Classic, only we're going to be using broken wing butterflies. And as far as the UB4 trade, also referred to as an M3U broken wing butterfly gradual condor transition put with Greek's corrections to the downside, that is going to show you the adjustment techniques that we explained in the broken wing butterfly masterclass series that are associated with transitioning a broken wing butterfly into a more condor or a more vertical type of a structure, and then hedging it to the downside differently than rolling it back. So it's going to take a lot of the concepts within the broken wing butterfly masterclass and show you a way to apply them and when best to use them. So that's going to be pretty cool. And while I'm here, I should also briefly talk about the X3 track as well, because that's coming up. Now that I think about it, though, the X3 track probably shouldn't be called the X3 track if we go with our number series. The X3 is more of a UB4 type of a thing, so we should actually call it the X4. So the upcoming X4 track is going to take all I've learned through my many years of trading and my years of teaching retail traders, my years of teaching professional traders, my years of teaching mentors, how to teach these things as well. It's going to take all that experience and concepts that we put into the Broken Wing Butterfly Masterclass series, and we're going to put them into a fantastic trading system on the SPX. It's going to be extremely comprehensive. It's going to be extremely adaptable. It's just going to be really great. I mean, it's going to be exciting for the more advanced options traders who've been through our other tracks and who've been through the Broken Wing Butterfly Masterclass track. I'm really looking forward to teaching. It's going to be a lot of fun. But even with all this exciting stuff coming up, I want you to remember one thing. You don't need all of it. You can be extremely successful with just an M3 program. You can be extremely successful with just a UB1 track or any of the other systems that I have available. You can get these one systems as long as you have adequate knowledge to understand the systems when you get them. You can be extremely successful. That's all you need to do. However, if your goal is to go further, or maybe you have a certain style of trading you're doing, it doesn't really meet your personality. For any of those reasons, if you want to do that, my goal is to get you successful as quickly as possible. So if you want, you can further your education from whatever program you start with, or you can try another path. Because my goal is to have all that available to you should you choose to do so. So rather than having you to come on to us with a in a one-on-one situation in order to modify an M3 trade to your personality, for example, my goal is to be able to do that through a program, and that way we can help a lot more people get better at trading a whole lot faster. And that is our goal, to get you to be a professional or to the trading level that you want as quickly as is humanly possible. And with that, please keep in touch with us. Let us know of your successes and how we may help you better. And I will see you at the top.